Hey, this is Liz from Her DIY Dream Home. This video is a quick show of what I did when it came to excavating and footings on my house in stage 1. First, this is Ed on the excavator. I found him through a bunch of different referrals. He is a farmer with excavating experience, so he was a great asset to me. Not too expensive. I just rented the equipment and he did the excavation. So here he is digging into the hillside. When I initially was getting quotes for this part of the job, they were extremely high. The lowest one was $8,000. And most of that had to do with unknown material underneath this hillside. But when I was doing my due diligence, the report on the well, which is actually in this same hillside, said this was broken basalt. So I kind of had the idea of what it was going to be. So I wasn't super concerned. I wasn't going to need a jackhammer because the bucket with the teeth on it was able to just eat through this pretty quickly. Now you might be wondering what Ed is doing here. He is scooping out of the hillside and just placing it onto the side there and then flattening out. So somebody I had talked to about doing a job for me had mentioned that he thought it would be a good idea to just move the material, because my driveway, if you can see it, is actually kind of steep. So instead of kind of removing the material and then adding new material to level out my parking pad in the future, he suggested just using the material that I had. So all I have to do is kind of unearth these giant rocks and use the broken basalt and the sand and dirt to kind of make my level parking pad. And that actually worked out really well. After we got all of the rocks and dirt out of the way, we used a tracked skid steer with a backhoe bucket on it to do the leveling. Not actually in the video is me running around with a grade stick and checking to make sure we're grade all the way around so it's nice and flat. So when we did the footings, it was super easy. So for the next step, the footings, my dad actually came over and helped me with this. That first night, we put up the batting boards and started working on the exterior frame of them. We used 2x4s because I used a system called Fast Foot. It is a plastic-like material that is actually a stay-in-place material that holds the concrete while it's curing and then acts as a water barrier after it's all done. It's just using 2x4s and then using staples to hold it in place on top. It was actually a really easy and convenient material. When I did this, lumber was at the all-time high, so this is actually super affordable. So for the actual concrete pour, I ended up hiring an outside company. They came out in just a few hours, came out, poured the concrete into the footings, and then smoothed out the top perfectly level. I helped, and then my cousin Caleb came over too and helped to see if maybe it was something he wanted to do in the future. It just took a couple of hours. It was real quick. You can see in the video that we had a small blowout in the corner because I did not actually purchase the corners that came with it, but I did do an overlap, but it wasn't a big deal. We just stopped for a second, threw some big rocks there, and let it all kind of cure a little bit before continuing on. The last step of the day was the vertical rebar that went into the footings that was called out for the ICF walls that are going next. It was every 18 inches along the back wall and every 4 feet along the front and the side. overall, I was really happy with what happened. It was really super easy. I came back a few days later after it had cured, and I unscrewed all of the rebar connections and removed all of the wood supports. Luna, move. The next step was actually to insulate the inside of my footings. So I went out and bought one of those kits that does 300 square feet, or 100 square feet, I think. I can't remember. And I just sprayed the inside of the footing. I believe I needed to get 2 inches to achieve an R10, which was the minimum from code here. So I just went around the whole thing and did a nice thick coat over the fabric from the fast foot. Last but not least is the backfilling of the footings. I had to rent an excavator one more time in order to dig out for my water and power to the house. So at the same time, we went ahead and got the equipment so that we could compact the inside of the footing. So you can see the conduit right there. And that was the last step. After everything, we were just waiting for the ICF to arrive and Luna to inspect the job.